Families around the world are preparing to sue the Watchtower Society. Thousands of them. Husbands who lost wives, parents who buried children, sons and daughters who grew up without a mother because she bled out on an operating table following a rule that the governing body has now admitted was never in the Bible. They are not asking for apologies. They are asking for accountability. They are contacting lawyers. They are gathering evidence. And the legal case against the Watchtower is stronger than it has ever been in the history of this organization. A husband in the United Kingdom held his wife's hand while a liaison committee pressured her not to store her own blood before surgery. She wanted to please Jehovah. She died 2 days later. He has carried that grief for years in silence. He is not silent anymore. A mother signed a medical directive card for her teenage daughter. That card said her child would rather die than allow a simple, routine procedure with her own blood. The girl went into surgery without it. She never came back. That mother has to live every single day knowing she trained her daughter to say those words because an organization told her it was God's will. A father stood in a hospital corridor at 3 in the morning, staring at a closed door because his wife bled to death during childbirth. Doctors had recommended she store her own blood beforehand. She refused because a pamphlet from Brooklyn told her God required it. These are not isolated stories. There are thousands of them. In every country where Jehovah's Witnesses exist, there is a family carrying this wound. And now that the governing body has reversed the very rule that killed their loved ones, those families have the one thing they never had before: proof that the rule was never divine. It was human policy, made by men, changed by men, and men who make policies that kill people can be taken to court. Part 1. The legal ground. This is not wishful thinking. The legal framework to hold the Watchtower financially liable for blood deaths has existed for over 20 years. What was missing until now was the trigger. The 2026 policy reversal is that trigger. In 2005, Florida attorney Carrie Louderback Wood published a peer-reviewed essay in Baylor University's Journal of Church and State titled "Jehovah's Witnesses, Blood Transfusions, and the Tort of Misrepresentation." Louderback Wood was not an activist with an agenda. Her own mother was a Jehovah's Witness who died after refusing a blood-related treatment. After her mother's death, she investigated the medical claims in the Watchtower's own publications and found systematic misrepresentation. The organization exaggerated the dangers of blood procedures, cited outdated medical studies, and published risk figures that were wildly inaccurate. The Watchtower told members the risk of dying from a transfusion was roughly 1 in 13,000. The actual figure, according to the Journal of the American Medical Association, was less than 1 in 2 million. In tort law, when an organization publishes materially false medical information and people rely on it and die, that organization is liable. This is the same principle used against tobacco companies and pharmaceutical corporations. The product was information. The information was defective. People are dead because of it. But misrepresentation is only the first angle. The second is coercion. The Watchtower has always claimed that refusing blood was a personal choice. Courts and bioethicists have documented that this choice was never free. Any witness who accepted a forbidden blood procedure faced being classified as disassociated, which triggers total shunning. Your family is instructed to cut you off. Your parents stop speaking to you. Your children are told you betrayed God. When the alternative to a medical procedure is losing every person you love, that is not freedom of conscience. That is coercion. And coercion that leads to death is actionable in court. Now combine both angles with the 2026 reversal. The Watchtower misrepresented the medical facts. It coerced members into compliance through shunning. And it has now admitted that the specific rule on storing your own blood was never actually in the Bible. For a plaintiff's attorney, the governing body just handed them the case on a silver platter. Before the reversal, the Watchtower could hide behind religious freedom. They could argue this was divine law, beyond the reach of any court. But the moment Garrett Louche said the Bible does not comment on this, that defense collapsed. If it was never in the Bible, it was never divine law. It was organizational policy. And organizational policy that causes death is subject to every court in every country on earth. Part 2. The human cost in numbers. The scale of what the Watchtower has done is difficult to comprehend until you see the numbers. According to analysis published by AJWRB, the Associated Jehovah's Witnesses for Reform on Blood, more than 33,000 witnesses have died since the blood ban was enforced in 1961. Nearly 600 deaths per year on average. By 2016, the annual estimate had climbed past 1,200. Every single year, this doctrine produces a death toll larger than the Jonestown Massacre. But these deaths happen one at a time, in hospital rooms, recorded on death certificates as hemorrhage or severe anemia, never as what they actually are, deaths caused by organizational policy. And then there are the children. In May 1994, the Awake magazine published 26 photographs of children who died refusing blood on its cover. The headline called them "Youths Who Put God First." The organization celebrated their deaths as acts of faith. It held dead children up as role models for living children to follow. It instructed parents to hold practice sessions so their kids could rehearse refusing treatment in front of doctors and judges. Now imagine a courtroom. A lawyer holds up that 1994 magazine cover. 26 faces of dead children. Then plays the 2026 video, where Garrett Lush calmly explains that this was always a matter of personal conscience, that those children did not have to die. No jury on earth sees that and sides with the Watchtower. Not every one of those 33,000 deaths involved the specific procedure that was reversed in 2026. Many involved donor blood transfusions, which the Watchtower still prohibits. But an unknown number of those deaths were patients who would have survived if they had simply been allowed to store and reuse their own blood before surgery. Those are the cases with the most direct legal exposure, and the 2026 reversal is the evidence those families needed. Beyond those direct cases, the reversal cracks the entire foundation. If the governing body admits one part of the blood doctrine was never biblical, every other part becomes legally vulnerable. The wall has cracked, and once it cracks, it does not stop. The governing body thought this would disappear quietly. A short video, a calm voice, the word clarification. They expected obedience and silence, the way they always have. But these families are done being silent. They have buried wives, husbands, children, and parents over a rule that the men who made it have now discarded. No apology, no acknowledgement, no memorial for the dead. Just a policy adjustment and the expectation that everyone moves on. They are not moving on. They are moving forward. Into law offices, into courtrooms, into the one arena where the governing body cannot control the outcome with a 16-minute video and a carefully chosen word. The lawsuits are not a possibility. They are an inevitability. The only question is how much the Watchtower will pay, and whether any amount of money can account for a mother who died on an operating table because she believed storing her own blood was a sin against God, when the men who told her that have now decided it never was. If you lost someone to this doctrine, you are not alone. Thousands of families around the world are asking the same questions. Organizations like AJWRB have documented these cases for decades and can provide resources and support. Share this video, not for the algorithm. Share it because somewhere right now a family is sitting with this pain in silence, thinking nobody understands. Show them the world is watching, and that the governing body will answer for what they have done.